Fire away.
Maybe the crowd isn't here, but I don't know. There are higher expectations on you guys this year. How are you embracing this? You guys will be the NFC North favorites. People's eyes.
Yeah, I think it's what you said. I had said this earlier in the week, but it's about raising the expectations. Like we need to be thinking that way, and everything about what we do needs to have that type of purpose. Our standards have always been about winning, man. You're trying to win every game, but ultimately, I think to take the next step, man, you're shooting for the division, because you do that, you win the division, you get a home game, and the rest takes care of itself. That's the next part of the process. Every team should want to go to the Super Bowl. Every year. Said that 2 years ago, of course. But I think we are positioned much better to swing with the big boys this year. Now, does that mean, I can't tell you what that means in win totals, but it means that is the goal, man. We got to go get this division.
Is the vibe different in the building at all in that regard? You say you want to win every game, but you kind of knew the expectations when you first got here.
Yeah.
When you go out and you take the approach you did in free agency, a little bit more aggressive this year, can you feel like this go for it sense through?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I was talking to actually Decker the other day. I was just calling to see how he was doing, and we got to talking about some things and talking about our ability to win games last year. Once we got in our rhythm, got in a groove, and it was the belief in what we were doing, the belief in the guys around them, the coaches, the teammates, was at an all-time high, and I think there's a feeling that'll be hard to lose. It would be hard to lose that because I think there again, when you get the right type of guys and have been put through the pressure our guys have, and have come from where they've come from, man, you appreciate it a lot more. And then on top of that, you just keep stacking a little bit of talent. You keep upgrading. You keep bringing in reinforcements, and the foundation is here. And then you bring in guys that are like-minded and about winning and can play some ball and help you in areas. And I think it's hard to fail.
In that regard, specifically, what did Cam, CJ?
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing?
Good. It's been a while.
Cam, CJ, Emmanuel, the guys who are veteran, guys who have been in winning programs, guys who have played well, have talent too. Just how important was it to get those guys? Why were those guys targeted for you?
Yeah, there again, look, Cam was somebody. Look, I can go right down the list for you. Look, CJ, we have a history with, right? I would have said CJ early. Of course, he would have been an early target. However, we didn't think that was going to be in our capacity. With the money that we had, the cap, everything, knowing where we wanted to spend our resources, and so that one, man, we were fortunate there. It just, the longer it went, the more it ended up favoring us, and we were able to work something out with each other. And so he's an outstanding addition. AG and I have a lot of history with that guy, and we know what he is, we know what he's about, and he's hungry. He's out for, this is a year, I'm here, I want to help, and then we'll see what happens after that. And let me tell you something, he's going to be ready to go. So that was good. Cam was somebody we identified early, really Mosley as well, but Mosley was hurt. And Cam was just popped off the tape because just the way he played, man, was everything that we're about. And, it's not always the flashiest, but man, it is productive, and it's violent, and it's headsy, and he fits us. And we knew he could help us in the back end. So, and he's got versatility. He can play nickel. He can play outside, obviously. And Mosley was another guy, man, you watch him on tape before he got hurt, and it fit us. So, the fit is very important. Obviously, the ability to play the position is big. And then look, Montgomery, that was another one. Honestly, it kind of came to us. We were very high on Jamal and Montgomery, but the intent was always going to be Jamal, and it just didn't work out. And so, Montgomery, staring at him for the last 3 years really, because we played him at New Orleans. Man, I got a lot of respect for the way he plays the game, and he's got versatility. He's a pretty good receiver out of the backfield, and so I think these guys are outstanding additions to our team.
And the secondary additions, where does that leave Jeff Okuda? How does he sort of fit into the mix?
Yeah, look, man, it adds depth, and it adds competition. That's what it does. That's what we desperately need. So, like, I see those guys coming in and competing, he and Jerry, and man, it's going to be, and that's the other thing. Just because you acquired these guys doesn't mean it's a lock that they start. It's probably a pretty good chance. That's why you acquired them. But my gosh, the best guy's going to play, and they all know that. And all you do is you raise your level of competition. You raise the floor. And that's a good thing for everybody.
Getting Bugs and Kamish back.
Yep.
I know you texted Kamish, or at least you told us you texted. It just those guys are. I think you've used the word blue pieces before. It's just the importance of getting guys like that back.
Yeah.
Veteran guys, maybe not the flashiest, but make everybody around them better.
Yeah. Listen, those are a couple of guys there again. Look, those two, C.J. Moore, Germ. To be able to get Germ back, just, man, they fit us. They fit what we're about. They believe in what we believe in, and I just think they're important. Not only very important role players, they're important for that locker room too, man. And you're going to get a good day's work out of them. They're going to do exactly what you ask them to do, and they're going to go all out. And man, they love ball, and they've got a trait, man. There's something about them on the field that they have that gives them the ability to help us and produce. Like, they're really sub-starters, if you will.
Sorry about that. Talked about this with Brad last night, and we've talked about it plenty in the past. Like guys that fit, guys that are about blue guys. That there's a certain character and intangibles that proliferate through your roster. Is there any bend on that for talent when you're looking at a draft prospect or a free agent prospect where the talent gives you some flexibility with football character, if you will?
Yeah, I think, I think everybody's different, right? Every player, you got to take it case by case. I would say, football character is very important, very important. And of course, the human being always will make a difference. We don't want to bring in somebody that's going to do something that, that we're all going to be sorry about. That's not the idea. But usually, man, you have high football character. The other is pretty good. You have to be, I think, in a sense. So I think it is case by case. I think, man, you got to weigh how much is in that player. How much are you going to be able to? Is that player going to be able to benefit your team or impact your team immediately? And how consistent is it going to be? And then you gotta make that determination.
So have you found when you have a locker room, maybe a foundation there that can pull it out or elevate a guy that maybe is on that borderline too?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I do think that's possible. But without the core, you can't do it. You can't take a swing at one of those. But yeah, if you feel like your foundation is set, you can get away with one, maybe two, maybe. But yeah, you can get away with one.
Dan, you were in New Orleans at the end of Zach Streif's playing career.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that he kind of had that future coaching gene in him that he was going to?
Well, I didn't know he would be a coach, but yet when I found out he wanted to get back in or get into coaching, I wasn't shocked one bit because he really was a coach on the field. He was a coach as a player. That's how he was, man. He was extremely intelligent. He understood angles, man. He understood how to get to the second level. He knew what everybody was doing. He knew the guard, the left tackle, left guard, the center, the mic point. He knew the tight end's job. He even knew what some of the reads were going to be for the quarterback, or it's 3-step, 5-step, 7-step, get his hands down. So, highly intelligent, man. I can't speak highly enough of Zach.
What are the Broncos getting with Coach Baker?
Well, look, it's pretty easy, man. You're going to get a guy who is he's energetic. He's highly intelligent. He is very demanding. I would say he's innovative. Has always been innovative. And I think he's going to give clear communication. I think he's going to, everybody in the building, I think everybody in that locker room is going to know exactly where he stands with them. And he's going to get it turned, is what he's going to do. He's going to get it turned. Now, I don't know when, but it's going to happen. So,
Brad said Big B was on a good trajectory there. You guys obviously signed Graham. How much are you looking forward to that competition there at that right guard spot? And do you think that'll bring out the best in both those guys?
Ask the question again.
Brad yesterday said health-wise, Big V was trending in the right direction, looking pretty good. You guys obviously signed Graham too.
Yeah.
You looking forward to that competition? You're improving that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes.
Strength.
Yes. So that's exactly what I think. This is another. I like to use this. This is my new term. That you're raising the floor, right? And a guy like Graham raises the floor again. You know, he's been a starter in this league. He's been a pretty good center. He's got guard flex, obviously. And so he's a guy that we know can go in there and compete to start. And let's see where Big V's at coming off of this back. I know that we have some optimism in the building, you know, but we won't know. And really, that's what Graham gives you, man. He gives you ability. He can step in and he can hold the fort down. And man, if you need him at either of the positions, you know, left guard, right guard, or center, you got a guy. So it's good to get him.
Back to what Justin asked, you know, sort of the football character thing. A, can you define that? And then B, there's a lot of questions about Jalen and not necessarily specifically about him, but when you're dealing with some of those draft guys that have some of the character questions, like what's the non-negotiable for you? What do you need to hear from them to be comfortable with them? Is it the honesty? Is it, you know, the football first part?
Yeah, no, I think honesty helps. You know, I think you want to know. I think ultimately you want to know. It's one thing, like, for example, you know, does a player give all that he has on the tape? You know, is there a player, he's not a lazy player. All right, now, there are plenty of times you'll turn the tape on and the guy's not going snap to whistle, but it does not deal with laziness. They haven't been coached to do it. They haven't had a coach that's been on them, or they just don't know. They're just unaware, and you get away with some things that ordinarily you wouldn't, and that's really, they just don't know. And so I think that's what you're trying to figure out, and you go through the character when you start talking about, the position coach, you start talking to the head coach, you start talking to the resources at the school, and then you begin to develop, hey man, this is what this guy's really like. Like you talk about Carter, I mean, we talked to a teammate of his the other day, and man, he told us some things we didn't know, that nobody probably would have known. It was like, oh, it's interesting. It's pretty good. So it's interesting. You know?
Coach Lamar Jackson, obviously, we'll talk about him. He's one
Yeah.
exclusive tag.
Yeah.
Would the Lions have any interest in Lamar?
Yeah, look, Lamar's a heck of a talent. You know, trying to defend that guy has been something else. We played them 2 years ago, but man, we got a quarterback. So I'm like, we got a quarterback, and thank God we got one. And so we're good. But man, he's a heck of a talent.
At the same time, how much do you look at those quarterbacks? You don't expect to draft this high
Yeah.
with the team that you got for a really long time.
Yeah. Well, look, I do think it goes back to this. And you don't always, I would say this, man, this year, as with most, you're always looking to upgrade, and the free agency has given us the ability in areas to, man, we can do whatever we need to do in the draft. We feel pretty good about that. We don't feel forced to do anything. You got to take this, and so with that, I would say, man, it doesn't matter what the position is. If we can upgrade our team, top to bottom, we will do that.
Dan, there was this approach of getting better on defense, and we could see a lot of those moves that you made that make you better on defense, but 5.2 yards per carry last year. Where do you feel like you're better as a run defense unit, and where do you need to continue to get better there with the remainder of the offseason? Yeah,
well, look, I think a lot of that is, look, as you know, we've re-signed basically all of our defensive guys back, okay? And I get that. But we've also, all right, so with that, man, it's on all our guys back. Look, we got a lot of faith in Alex. That's why we want him back, man. He's a quarterback of our defense, all right? You got Barnes, who's got another year under his belt. You got Rodriguez, who's got another year under his belt. You got Hutch, who's got another year under his belt. You got Lynn McNeil's got another year under his belt, right? We're getting Charles back. We're getting Romeo back. You got Akuta's got another year under his belt. Jerry Jacobs got another year under his belt. We're getting Tracy back. Kirby's getting another year under his belt. All right, we bring in Sutton. We bring in CJ. All right, Mosley, man, hopefully he's going to be ready for the season to start, game one. Well, all of a sudden, man, if you don't do anything else defensively, we're going to be better. And we're already working on scheme right now, man. AG's back there cooking up all kinds of stuff because you have the flexibility to do some things now because of what we've done in the back end. So that alone, we're going to be better, and we haven't even hit the draft yet.
One name that
Gets me fired up, Justin. I love it. Thank you.
you guys have been mentioning with Calais Campbell as a possibility. I think there are a few
Yeah.
teams that talk with him. What's going on there?
Well, tight end. See if he can play it. And yeah, look, we turned the tape on, man, and it is. I tell you what, man. You talk about a lot of respect for a big man. Oh my gosh. That is, and I just keep watching. I'm like, man, there's no way he can feel good. That body cannot feel good, but it looks like it feels good because he is a force to be reckoned with. Man, you put him in a closed end, you're not running over there. He can rush as the 3 technique still on third down. He just, man, and he's got length, he's got size, he's still quick. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we're not the only one who's on him, so.
Hey, Dan, have you talked?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No worries. Have you talked to other coaches about the Thursday night flex proposal, and what's your thoughts on it?
No, I don't even know if half the coaches know about it. So,
I mean, you've been a player and a coach. What would
yeah,
it be like?
yeah, I think it's yeah, I'm not a fan.
No, that's an interesting thing you said, though, that you don't know how many are aware of it. How do you feel about the process of, it seems like some of these rules are just sort of sprung on everybody here. You got a short amount of time to think about it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just, as long as we feel like, you just want to feel like you have a minute to kind of digest what's being said. You can talk it out. I think that's a big thing, And look, I'll be the first to say, this is my first one of these. I didn't come last year. We had COVID 2 years ago. I didn't come last. So you're kind of, you're looking around trying to fill the room a little bit, like what's going on here. And, I feel like I ought to say something. Nobody's saying anything. I feel like I ought to say, nobody's saying. So you just, and I'm not sure that's the right approach. But listen, I think you're listening, and we kind of understand what's going on when we came in here. I knew. Before we flew in, I already knew what we were going to be discussing. We had talked about it. Rod, myself, Brad, Diz. So, and I would assume everybody else has as well, or no, maybe not everything, but.
Was there ever a time as a player you thought, God, I wish there was 10th of a second on the clock?
No. But at the same token, I'm open-minded enough to go, hey, I get it, man. It's 10.1. And you're going to take 10 seconds off the clock because of a penalty, and you got 0.1 to snap a ball, and you can get it off, or, it's like, I got it.
You guys did make a few 4 proposals. Right?
We did.
Yeah. So can you just maybe walk us through some of that?
I think they're really pretty simple. I mean, really, look, the third quarterback deal was strictly because watching the San Francisco game, and you're like, oh my God, if that ever happened. That's the worst possible time to have me. And, look, I thought Coach Shanahan made some really good points in there, and it really wasn't even about, the fact that, man, this could happen to you. It's more with where concussions are going, or concussion protocol, or spotting. Man, you lose a couple of quarterbacks, you're gonna want a guy. But that's really what that is. You just don't ever want to be put in that position to where you don't even have a guy who can snap a ball. And then the other one was really, man, the challenge system. It's not a big deal, but it was, some of it was. I think of it more as, is it a catch or is it not a catch? Because to this day, I know what the rules say and I know what they're saying, but you can go either way. And that we had about 3 this year that were, whether we were on offense or defense, and it's ruled one way. And when you go back and review the play, like St. Brown, right? I think it was Miami, and it's called incomplete. We challenged it, and they said, no, the rule stands. And so I asked the official, I said, look, had it been the other way, he said, yeah, it would have stood. If it was a catch, it would have stood. But since it wasn't a catch, it stood, because it's a 50-50 play. What is it? It's so close. And so, man, you hate to lose a challenge on that where we just call what was there. There's no clear evidence, more subjective. And that was all. You just don't want to lose one of those knowing you only have one left. And what if the same scenario comes up 3 plays later and you're like, man, it changes the game. That's all.
Dan?
Yes, sir.
Where do you stand on assisting the runner, pushing the quarterback?
I'm all good with it. I got no problem, man. Because here's why, man. I think of it defensively, man. You got to have a plan to stop it. And that's what fires me up. We're going to have a plan to stop it. So that's like my goal is that, man, we come back here next year and be like, all right, we can't do that anymore. So listen, you got something good, then defensively you got to find a way to stop it. So this will be fun.
Hey Dan, Deshaun Elliott going to Miami. What are your thoughts on what the Dolphins are getting?
Listen, Deshaun, man, what a stud. He's another one of these guys, came in and just worked his rear off, active, snapped the whistle, hard-hitting, aggressive, and he was a good teammate, man. And look, he had some bumps in the road early and then came out of it and he was a really good player for us. He was cooking, and he really kind of kept us together in the back end last year. So we'll miss him. I wish him all the best of luck.
Is there a void that you need to fill with Chark moving on?
Yeah, I would say so. Yes, I would. I would. I think you could say, man, it'd be nice to find another guy that could help us out there. So I would say our eyes are there. We do have eyes on that somehow, some way. But yeah, and look, we'll miss Shark. He's another one. He brought something to us that was a little different than the rest of them. So yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
How do you see Levi fitting into this defense next year? Levi?
Yeah, he's another one. He and Vitek kind of fall in the same category of, we just need to see how it is. We talked to him a couple of weeks ago. He was doing good. The rehab has gone well, but you just don't know. You don't know with the back, But I mean, certainly he's going to get an opportunity if the body will allow it.
Knowing Sean Payton the way you do, how rejuvenated does Sean seem to be back in coaching after?
Yeah, very, very rejuvenated, man. You can tell he's hungry, he's ready to go, change the scenery, and I think you're about to get the best product or the best version of him that there's been in a while. So I can't speak highly enough of Sean.
What did you learn from him in New York and Dallas and working with him?
Yeah, I don't know what I didn't learn from him. I mean, everything. I think, there again, I think he understands better than anybody communication with the players. I think he knows how to put them in the best position to have success. I think he knows how to use the whole roster that goes to the game, every bit of them, and use their strengths. And I think he's very innovative, man. He's always ahead of the curve. He's always thinking outside the box. And I think he's a stud.
And the competition committee suggesting that joint practices be held at a certain time in the preseason. How, if at all, does that impact you guys?
Look, we already had it scheduled, so I know what they said. Ours is going to be the first preseason game. We'd already set it up with the Giants before we talked about all this, but I mean, I think you just go about it like any other practice, man. You be smart with what you're doing, and they're going to suggest what they're going to suggest, and we listen to it. But it's not like we don't have our players' best interests at heart, and we're reading our own data, and we're trying to figure out the best way to help our guys in recovery and all that. But but at the same time, there's a balance, right? You want to get really good work and maybe not have to play some of the starters. So
you had some guys take some pay cuts to stay in Detroit, but I don't think any quite as significant as Romeo's. I'm just wondering the conversations you had, why it was important for him to stay here despite the maybe taking a lesser salary.
Yeah, just talking about Romeo coming back. Yeah. Well, look, I think that. Look, I can't speak on his side of it, but I know for us, man, of course we wanted Romeo back, man. And it's been tough. We invested in him coming off of the year that he had, knowing the type of player that he was. And unfortunately, man, the injury just basically knocked him out for a couple of years, And what we got back last year, I can't say that I was necessarily surprised that it wasn't back to his old form. That's a hard injury, man. And you come back and you're playing the last few games. So I think to be able to get him back, knowing that, man, he's going to be much healthier. He will have had now, man, another, 6-7 months stacked on top of that of continued recovery. And that's the other thing, man. He's a grinder now. Romeo's a grinder. He's a self-made man, and so he's doing everything he can possibly do to improve everything, improve his body. And so I think it's big, man. And there again, what does it do? It brings competition back to the position, back to our defense. And that's how you get better. I mean, you raise the level of talent, you raise the competition, and you can't help but get better. And whoever comes out of that as a starter or a sub-starter, you're better. Okay.